Nothing but a mystery surrounds Angel Reese. Angel Reese has taken this season off to focus on her off-court endeavors and to avoid these losses that the Chicago Sky are accumulating, to avoid them appearing on her resume. Angel Reese doesn't really care about basketball.
Angel Reese just shook the whole league with her Chicago Tribune interview, saying loud and clear she's not settling for another weak season with the Sky. She wants Chicago stacked with the best of the best. Bold, right? But here's the messy twist. She's leading the league in turnovers, couldn't even stay on the floor without catching a suspension, and she's still struggling to finish easy shots at the rim. Reese is calling for her squad to get rebuilt, but now people are asking the real question, is she the one Chicago needs to cut loose? The whispers are growing louder by the day, and social media is eating it up. Fans are wilding out, some hyping up Clark, the baby goat, while others clown Reese as the baby giraffe. The split is real, and the buzz is nonstop. And don't get it twisted, it's not just outsiders talking. Word is, Reese herself might be the one who wants out. Imagine this, demanding your teammates get swapped out, only for your own franchise to start looking at you like the problem. That's the corner Angel Reese backed herself into with this interview. And the irony is crazy. She didn't hold back at all. Reese flat out told the Tribune she's done with the same weak season and doubled down, saying the only way forward is by snagging good players and great players. But the way it came out, it didn't sound like a young star ready to grind and grow with her squad. It sounded like a rookie throwing shade at her own locker room and doing it on record. And this didn't just ruffle a couple feathers. Reports say it flat out infuriated her teammates and even shook up veterans across the league. Things got so heated that the Sky had to call a full-on locker room sit-down just to patch things up. That ain't team bonding, that's straight-up damage control. Imagine being so unproven that your whole squad needs a meeting just because of your mouth. That's not leadership, that's dysfunction. But here's where it went from messy to reckless. Reese allegedly took one of her nastiest shots at Courtney Vandersloot. The kicker? Vandersloot wasn't even on the floor this season, sidelined with an ACL tear. Reese brushed her off like she was washed up and too old to matter in Chicago's future, and that cut deep. Because Vandersloot isn't just some random name. She's a championship guard, one of the smartest floor generals in the W, and still carries heavyweight respect across the league. Throwing shade at Vandersloot wasn't just disrespect, it was dangerous. Courtney's a vet still grinding, still respected coast to coast, and she's earned every ounce of that love. By tossing her aside, Reese didn't just slight one legend, she sent a message to every veteran still hooping that she thinks their time is up. And here's the wildest part. The Chicago front office already bent over backwards to hand Reese the keys. Don't forget, they shipped out Sonia Citron, a rookie who lit it up so fast she cracked the All-Star game in her very first season. They sacrificed her just to grab Ariel Atkins, a proven scorer, to give Reese exactly the kind of established talent she said she needed. But instead of showing even a little gratitude, Reese acted like none of it was enough. Imagine blasting the front office for not trying when they literally sacrificed a future franchise cornerstone just to stack the roster around you. That's not ambition. That's straight-up entitlement. And she didn't just throw shade at vets either. Even younger teammates like Haley Van Leith caught stray heat, with Reese hinting the squad was either too old, too mid, or too soft. Suddenly, veterans felt disrespected, rookies felt brushed off, and instead of being the glue in the locker room, Reese flipped into the one thing no team wants, the common enemy. She thought she was sparking a rally, but all she did was light a fire of frustration. And now it's burning right back at her. And when you really break down her impact on the court, it's clear why her whole power play backfired. If you're gonna put yourself above the squad, you better be carrying them with dominance. Instead, Angel Reese ended up looking like the odd piece out, the part that didn't even fit in the system she was so eager to tear down and rebuild. Here's the cold reality. That vision she bragged about may have exposed the one issue Chicago didn't want to admit. The problem wasn't just the roster she trashed, it might actually be Angel Reese herself. And the sting cuts deeper when you realize she kept demanding upgrades and great players, while struggling with one of the most basic skills, holding on to the ball. Bang! Picture this. The same player begging for a roster overhaul is the one weighing her squad down. On paper, sure, her numbers look nice. 14 to 15 points a night, double-digit rebounds. But zoom in and it unravels quick. Reese is leading the entire WNBA in turnovers, and that's after missing weeks of action with injury. Let that sink in. Reese sat out games, played fewer minutes than most stars, and still managed to cough up the ball more than anybody else. That's not dominance. That's reckless basketball. Turnovers happen, no doubt. Every player forces it sometimes. But with Angel Reese, it wasn't just aggression. It screamed impatience, sloppy choices, and zero control whenever the pressure hit. And the warning signs didn't stop there. Her discipline issues kept stacking up too, especially when it came to technical fouls. Think about it. Your supposed franchise cornerstone should be the calm one, leading by example, not barking at refs and melting down under heat. Yet Reese blew through the limit like it was nothing, piling up her 8th technical foul of the season. By league rules, that triggered an automatic 1-game suspension. And the timing? Straight up brutal. That suspension didn't land on some random midweek throwaway game. Nope. It crashed right before one of the most hyped matchups of the year, Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever. A rivalry fans had circled for weeks, with the league itself wanting that spotlight. But instead of showing up, Reese knocked herself out of it. Not from injury, not from rest, but for striking Aaliyah Edwards in the head during a rebound battle.
And watching the bottom of your screen. The contact by Reese.
You can see Angel's right hand got Aaliyah Edwards on the head. And if they do, Lisa, I'm okay with that too, because I think you have to officiate these teams very tightly.
So it'll be a technical foul on Angel.
How many players are going to listen to what Angel Reese had to say about Courtney Vandersloot? Are going to listen to what Angel Reese had to say about her current teammates? How many players are going to say, oh yeah, I want to play with that player who has no problem throwing me under the bus with 3 games to go? I want to play with that. Maybe not many.
Intentional or not, refs saw enough to call it, and the league had no choice but to drop the hammer. That wasn't just a personal embarrassment. It was a direct blow to her own squad at the worst possible moment. The irony here is way too wild to ignore. The Chicago Sky supposedly built their whole squad around Angel Reese, yet crazy enough, the team often looked better without her on the floor. The ball moved smoother, the defense tightened up, and in some games, they even pulled out wins while she was sitting down. Now think about how backwards that is. A real star is supposed to raise the team's ceiling when she plays. But with Reese, the less she touched the court, the more the Sky seemed to flow. That's not a franchise player. That's a franchise in reverse. Ask Sky fans if Reese feels like the future cornerstone, and plenty will tell you straight. It feels more like the squad is chained to an anchor dragging them under. She wanted to prove she was the centerpiece, but the results showed something else. What good are 15 points and 12 boards if they come wrapped in reckless turnovers, non-stop chirping at refs, and suspensions in clutch moments? Watching Reese wasn't watching a savior. It was watching a liability when the team needed stability most. And that's the brutal truth. Because here's the real contrast. While Reese was busy burning bridges and dragging Chicago down, another young star was flipping the script. Caitlin Clark was out in Indiana building her squad up with leadership, professionalism, and the kind of spark that lit the Fever on fire. Here's where the split really pops off. While Angel Reese was out here throwing shade at her own teammates, Caitlin Clark was moving in the total opposite direction. Clark's been under the brightest, harshest spotlight the WNBA has ever thrown at a rookie. Every move picked apart, every game picked clean, every little slip blasted into headlines. Most players would fold under that kind of heat, but Clark handled it with patience and pure professionalism from the jump. Even when injuries knocked her out, she didn't vanish. She traveled with the Fever, sat courtside hyping her squad, and kept her presence alive in the locker room. That's real commitment. Reese? Whole different energy. When she went down, she pulled back, leaving her teammates to grind it out alone. And that's the contrast fans refuse to ignore. Clark's leadership runs way deeper than just showing up. She's proven she's got the sportsmanship too, the kind you almost never see in young stars fighting for the spotlight. One of the clearest examples? After a matchup, she went public praising Angel Reese's game. Think about that. Instead of feeding into the so-called rivalry, Clark gave Reese her flowers when she felt it was earned. That's grace under pressure, and it shows the difference in how they carry themselves. Just peep the contrast. While Angel Reese uses interviews to take shots at her own roster, Caitlin Clark uses hers to build bridges with teammates and even opponents. That's authentic leadership. No smoke, no fluff. And the results prove it. When Clark runs the floor, Aaliyah Boston looks freer, more confident, and flat-out dominant in the paint. Guards like Lexi Hull and Kelsey Mitchell spread the floor and knock down better looks because Clark's passing bends defenses out of place. Even Sophie Cunningham, who thrives on spacing and raw energy, slides right into Clark's rhythm like it's second nature. And that's the magic of Caitlin Clark's game. She's not just a scorer, she's the glue that makes the whole squad run smoother. That's why she led the entire league in assists last season with over 9 a night. And even this year, after missing a stretch with injury, she's still dropping more than 8 dimes a game. And the media? They can't get enough. Every headline about Indiana lately paints Clark as the blueprint for professionalism. From how she bigs up her teammates in interviews, to how she sets the tone in the locker room, to the way her prep shows on the floor. It's all part of the winning culture she's building. Now stack that against Reese, who had to backpedal and apologize after blasting her own squad in that Tribune piece. Total night and day. One self-proclaimed superstar dragged her team through the mud. The other, a real superstar, keeps making everybody around her better. That's why Fever fans are buzzing with hope. They're not just watching better basketball, they're watching real leadership beyond Clark's years. She's building a culture in Indiana that Chicago's still chasing but hasn't found.
Angel Reese is fed up. She's tired of the losing. She's tired of being the gum on the bottom of the shoe of the league. She is fed up with the Chicago Sky, and it looks like Angel Reese wants out. It looks like she wants.
And when you compare Reese's chaos with Clark's rise, it doesn't look like bad luck anymore. It looks like Reese is living with the fallout of her own choices. Just picture it. One so-called franchise star has fans lining up months in advance to buy tickets, while the other has her own teammates calling emergency meetings just to deal with locker room drama. Now, which franchise do you think fans are actually hyped about? The Indiana Fever are surging with Caitlin Clark running the engine. Just last season, they were stuck in the lottery, but now they're pushing into the playoff race, locking down national TV slots and selling out arenas coast to coast. Meanwhile, over in Chicago, Angel Reese has turned what should have been a fresh rebuild into a full-blown circus, filled with apologies, complaints, and way more doubts than answers. Nobody's even whispering about the sky-chasing championships right now. Instead, fans are already asking if the front office regrets every single move they made for her. That's the brutal reality. And here's the kicker. Even when Clark was sidelined with injury, she handled it like a pro. She didn't disappear or hide. She hopped flights, sat courtside in street clothes, and showed her squad she was still locked in every step of the way. Now stack that against Reese, who kept her distance while hurt, leaving her teammates to carry the Sky with zero leadership from the one player they were supposed to rally behind. Her absence didn't just sting, it screamed she wasn't all in. And look at Indiana now. Their supporting cast is thriving with Clark steering the ship. Aaliyah Boston is on the fast track to superstardom in the paint. Lexi Hull's playing with new confidence thanks to the space Clark creates. Kelsey Mitchell is having one of her best seasons, and Sophie Cunningham slid into the mix like she's been there forever. Clark isn't just scoring buckets, she's reshaping the entire floor, putting teammates in perfect spots to shine. That's the difference between just being a scorer and being a true leader. And the proof is written all over Indiana's rise. Indiana's smashing attendance records, moving merch like wildfire, and locking down primetime slots every single week. Meanwhile, the Chicago Sky, sitting on a miserable 10-30 record, buried in suspension headlines, and stuck with a fan base that's fed up with the circus. Instead of hype, Chicago fans are venting online, pointing fingers right at Angel Reese and her so-called leadership. And that's where the gap between Clark and Reese couldn't be more brutal. Clark's professionalism makes veterans want to hoop with her, while Reese's nonstop complaining has stars steering clear of Chicago like it's radioactive. The numbers only make it worse. Indiana stacks more wins with Clark running the show. And Chicago? They often look sharper when Reese isn't even on the floor. Which leaves the big question hanging heavy. Was Angel Reese ever the right bet for the Sky? She demanded the roster be built around her, but the harsh truth might be this. Chicago's biggest problem isn't the roster she trashed, it's Angel Reese herself. You can't call for greatness while leading the entire league in turnovers and watching your team play cleaner when you're sitting down. Analysts and fans are already blasting Angel Reese as toxic, with some straight up labeling her a liability you can't build around.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of this group. I think we've shown all season long, like, they're resilient, they're connected, they pull for each other, they enjoy one another, they celebrate one another, and, that stuff alone is good for 10 to 12 points a game. And, for this group, the way that they share the ball, how unselfish they are. I mean, I'm really proud of them. It's not been ideal circumstances all season long, but they've shown the character of who they are. They've been resilient. They've responded to adversity, and they continue to elevate one another. And, I couldn't be more proud of this group than I am at
Meanwhile, over in Indiana, Caitlin Clark is getting crowned as exactly what the WNBA's been missing. A pro's pro, a team-first leader whose presence makes everybody better. And if the Fever keeps stacking wins with Clark, Boston, Mitchell, Hull, and Cunningham locked in, Indiana's future looks electric, while Chicago's feels like one long disappointment. So here's the real question. Is Angel Reese actually dragging the Sky down, or does she just need more time to prove she's that franchise piece? And on the flip side, is Caitlin Clark really the baby GOAT fans have been waiting for? Drop your take in the comments. Are you rolling with Team Clark or riding with Team Reese, the so-called baby giraffe? And before you bounce, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss a single drop. Click the video on the screen right now, and we'll catch you in the next one.